So, I'm a bit late to this party, but I found out that the Explorer and Historic anthologies are coming late this summer. So there's going to be a 20 card expansion for Explorer and a 20 card expansion for Historic. Ignoring Historic because I can't play that, can't put up with the Alchemy cards anymore. So there's going to be 20 cards dedicated to Explorer. That will be the first dedicated expansion for Explorer, and a range of cards from iconic powerhouses to offbeat favourites from Pioneer. The second expansion will be Historic Anthology 6 and will bring new possibilities to the format. So, with that in mind, let's talk about 5 gold-coloured cards I want, and then a card from every other mono-coloured card and land that I think will be included in this expansion. So, I'm going to get right off the bat here and say it. Number 1, I want Bring to Light. I mean, literally, I am a Niv to light player, so I need my light. You know, got Niv, and Niv is the light of my life, but I need a bit more light to make him brighter. Yeah, I want this added. This strikes what I think would be central to this, because I believe, as I've shown many times with the deck, is in Historic and in Explorer and historically in Historic. You can build a Niv shell with pretty much any gold cards that exist because of the value that Niv can provide. So, as I said, Bring to Light is my number 1 card. I want to see it. I was kind of hopeful for this, because when Double Masters spoiled this originally as one of its first spoils, I was like, maybe there's going to be Pioneer staples in Double Masters, and they're going to port them over to Arena, but sadly it didn't happen, so let's move on. My next choice is a Voice of Resurgence. If anyone doesn't know this card, it is green and white, 2/2 elemental. Whenever an opponent casts a spell during your turn, you create a elemental with star power and toughness equal to the number of creatures you control. Very iconic card. This was seeing a lot of play in Pioneer before the Winota ban, so it was kind of sitting on the I don't really think we should print this to make Winota better. But with Winota gone, I mean, this just fits fun in an Elementals deck, a green-white aggro, a Hate Bears deck. I mean, a fun Elementals deck that's not using bullshit free spells that totally ruin an entire format experience. But I digress. Third on my list for gold cards, I'm going with Dreadbore. So I'm torn here between Dreadbore is technically my second choice. My first choice was the 10 charms from Ravnica, but knowing that there's only 20 slots, I didn't want half of them to be took up with the charm cycle from Ravnica. So I say Dreadbore. Good, efficient removal in Rakdos. As I said before, it's something I think should be in the format, and I don't think it would hurt to give that option. Right, now moving on, we have Spell Queller. I would like Spirit support. Spirit flash decks do currently annoy me, but they currently sit as mono blue tempo decks. They don't actually play technically spirits in my eyes. So I'd love for them to add the wide effects here, you know, Spell Queller, and we'll cover, spoiler alert, in the future, some other things. But yeah, I think that would be another nice inclusion. Talking about Azorius cards, our final gold card we want to talk about for this, Reflector Mage. I mean, this is a fun little bounce effect. I think that they could print some support for humans. I mean, old school humans, obviously. This was with Valia now being reprinted in Crimson Vow. We basically have a humans deck which is currently sitting as a black-white humans. So I'd like to add more colours to that, make it a traditional 5-colour tribe. I think Reflector Mage would be a good start to move that way. Now, transitioning from our gold cards, what land do I want to add? Nyx, Shrine to Nyx. I think that basically giving a devotion payoff to the mono-coloured ramp decks, even though I don't play them at all, would be very solid. I think this is a missing piece for a lot of ramp decks. Like mono-coloured decks could abuse this as a good mana sink. I mean, there'd probably be legitimate At the conception of Pioneer, there were a lot of legitimate green ramp decks that used Devotion and Nykthos, so I think it needs to be in here. I think it would spawn a good 5. I think you could get all 5 colours covered. Moving on, mono white. I think we should add Selfless Spirit. I talked about spirits when I talked about Spell Queller, but yeah, Selfless Spirit here for the Indestructible I think would be more relevant right now than anything else. I could have gone with Rattle Chains, but I feel Selfless Spirit also has more applications outside of spirits. So Rattle Chains protects spirits, where Selfless Spirits could go in a Spirit Tribal or a white X creature deck. So yes. Okay, mono blue. This will be a controversial one here. I say Thing in the Ice and the Awoken Horror. As you know, I currently think Is It Phoenix sits at the top of the metagame and probably needs a card took out of it. Probably one of the Delve cards. Maybe even just the Delve Extra Turn card. So why would I want to give him another payout? Well, Thing in the Ice is a very classic Pioneer card. It's been in there since day one. It's a really good card that you should think about maintaining in the format. Sorry, I just got stalked by the art then. I actually realised the ship is pulling the thing towards the port. Why would you do that? Alright, we're going to go into mono black here. Kalitas, Trader of Geth. Graveyard Hate and solid body that's hard to remove. Great in mono black decks. The Rakdos deck currently would also love this. I think, yeah, it's... I mean, if you just read the card, you see what its abilities are. I don't think it's too great. Moving to mono green, I would like to see Nissa, Voice of Zendikar here. This is more for the... I feel she can fit in a kind of weenie, go wide deck, a token deck, or maybe even a devotion deck. I mean, she's not as good as Who Shakes the World, but, you know, she is a very solid card that I think could be put into the format and wouldn't break things. I was trying to look at mono green, other effects that they could go in. I mean, I know Pelucranos is one, but I've already put the Nykthos for the Shrine deck, so I've tried to cover different archetypes here. And finally, much to everyone's dismay, I think we should bring Eidolon of the Great Revel. I genuinely think this would give huge boost to burn and mono red aggro decks, and it would also just give them something as well against the Is It Phoenix decks. This basically makes cantrip decks cry. Yeah, it's very solid. Whenever they cast a spell with mana value 3 or less, it deals 2 damage to them. It is a mainstay of burn in even modern, so I think, yeah, it would be a fun thing to include. So yeah, that's my prediction for 11 cards I would like to see. Honestly, I would sell everything just to get Bring to Light. That's the one card I will be genuinely upset with if it's not in the set. That's because that's just selfish reasons. I purely want this card. What most likely I think will get printed. I think Kalitas will get printed, definitely. I think Nykthos will be in the set, and I'm pretty sure, based on how they do things, that we probably will also see Thing in the Ice, and potentially the Reflector Mage. I'd probably put them in that order. I'd say Kalitas is the one I would put my money on. Yeah, Bring to Light is the one that I would put my money on out of passion. But yeah, we'll see what lands when this falls. What falls at the end of summer. And start wishing everyone for Bring to Light. Just start chanting it, manifest, Bring to Light, Bring to Light, Bring to Light.